In a world of open mind and vibrant memories, it is sometimes forgotten that they can and they will fade. I had a friend that once always wondered why she was so amped on having a picture of her best friend near her at all times. She wasn't just satisfied with his presence, though she loved it. There was something about a photograph, seeing that expression forever immortalized on a piece of paper, that always caught her attention, because even when they were fighting, when they were having troublesome times, she could look at it, and in their happiest moments they were forever immortalized on that piece of paper. When we see old photographs, it tends to catch us off guard. If it's their crazy hair, or if it's their crazy clothing, their out of the norm expressions, how long they had to sit there to take that photograph that for us would have been instantaneous with our technology today. For them, they had to sit there for 10 to 15 minutes just for one exposure to be taken. So sometimes they would frown or just have resting faces, which seemed very odd and sometimes very cruel. Art is usually, in times before cameras, the most common way to photograph people, and they would do this by having people sit there for hours upon hours, and they would paint them. Though that was not the easiest, quickest, or most, accurate representation of people, it was all they had before cameras. People would sit there and they would take breaks, and sometimes when they came back, the artist would forget where he was and he would have to start all over on paintings. Now that we have technology, it is so easy to take instantaneous snapshots. In today's society, from early 90s on, with handheld cameras that didn't require film, that were digital, it's been much easier to take pictures. And with recent technological advances, we have things like these. These are very nice, expensive lenses. This one is from about 1968. It is a Tamron, and it is a 80 by 210 millimeter lens. This is what people would use to take long landscape shots, maybe panoramas, but it wasn't until the mid-70s that people were actually able to have flared lenses, which is when it's rounded. That's why much older photographs, well, not much older, but about 40 years ago, they were flat on the screen. Now we have these. What would have taken, hours to make this exposure and go into a dark room to, make a photograph, we now have digital, which is instantaneous, and this is a Canon 55 by 250 millimeter. The difference in the size is it's pretty immense. This one is what most people use today, is Canon and Nikon, because it's so advanced in the way that they use their technology. This does double what this does. With the advances that we have made in technology, it's easy to see that it is the paramount way to capture memories and to document. Without photographs, we wouldn't have things like news, we wouldn't have x-rays, we wouldn't have the first war that was ever photographed, the Civil War. Well, we would have had the war, of course, but we wouldn't have been able to historically document factually what had actually happened. Things like the Holocaust, no one except for those that were there to experience it would have known the severity. So things like that, because we have photographs and we have lenses such as these that can capture, up to 32 megapixels, we can actually see what actually happened, and that's pretty cool.